Then we want to continue with the operators. Talked about unary operators and then the binary operators. That's where we are. In our previous tutorial, we talked about arithmetic operators and assignment operators. So today we are going to talk about relational operators. We want to see how relational operators work. So for this, we will create a new file inside this folder called operators. So click on the folder, click on the file, and then type relational.py. Now inside here I want to write multi-line comment, double triple quotes, opening and closing double triple quotes. Inside there you can type relational. Sometimes it is called comparison operator, so just one and the same thing. What is this operator that we are calling relational or comparison? So they are used in evaluating two values and the result is usually a Boolean expression that is either true or false. That is the main functionality of a relational operators. So categories or examples of those operators, we have several categories that falls under this operator. So first, these are some of the examples we have: equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So the evaluation is either true or false. So for example, let me begin by declaring two variables, q equals to 9 and z equals to 6. So I can come down here and say I want to check and say print q. So I can say if q is equals to z. So what is the expected output of this line should be Boolean expression. And when you look at this, q is equals to z, automatically we know this is false because q is 9 and z is 6. If you run this file, we are getting false. Why? Because actually the value in z is not equal to the value in q. So I'm using equal to. So either I could have said not equal to will evaluate to true if the values are not equal. So for example, if I say print q not equal to z, if I run this file, I'll get true. Actually it is true because q is not equal to z, so that is true. Next we have greater than. Usually have that pointing greater than symbol, greater than. So this one evaluates to true when the left value is greater than the right value. So for example, if I say q is greater than z, if I save the file and run the file, I will get true. Why? Because the value in q is greater than what is in z. So evaluation, it is left to right. Evaluation is left to right. It is the evaluation of greater than the operator. So less than, for example, if I say q is less than z, then I save this file by pressing Ctrl S and run the file again. It is giving me false because that is true. Q is not less than Z. Again, evaluation here it's from left to right. So outcome of this evaluation is false because Q is not less than Z. It is the opposite. It is greater than Z. Then you have compound types. For example, I can say greater than or equal to. Or equal to. Example, I can say print Q is greater than or equals to Z. Run the file. This is true. Even if I say 9 here, save the file and run the file, still true because for this it has two evaluations. So it has equal to and greater than. So whenever one is true, the entire compound operator is treated as the result of the first one. So either one of these can be evaluated, and if it is true, the entire operator becomes true. So it has two. It has greater than and equal to. Also, when you look at the other one, less than or equal to, so this has less than or equal to. Again, it has compound. It is a compound type. So I can say Q less than or equals to Z. So I've inserted 9, 9. So of course Q is not less than Z. So for that part, it will not be true. So we have, so this one has less than and equal to. So on the part of less than, that is false, but on the part of equal to, that is true. So if I run this file, you're able to get true for this case. So those are examples of relational or comparison operators. The evaluation is usually a Boolean expression, either true or false. That was what we call relational operators. The evaluation is usually a Boolean expression, true or false. So that is very important to understand. Next category of operators we want to look at, and this is the logical operator. Now, logical operator logical, you say logical.py. So logical operator is a kind of operator that utilizes so this is a logical operator. So they are used to evaluate two different operations, the logical operators. The result of the evaluation is usually a Boolean expression like the one for relational, that is true or false. Examples we have the AND operator. This operator indicates that the two operations, that is, let's say for example you have operation 1 and operation 2 must be true in order for the entire statement to be treated as true. That is for AND. For OR, this operator indicates that, so the second one is OR operator, and for the OR, this operator indicates that either or two operation, that is operation 1 or 2, if it is true, the entire statement will be true. And not operator, this operator reverses the outcome of an operation. So let's say I have an operation 1 here where I've named it P, and then A is 6, B is 2, and then P, A is greater than B. This is true because actually we know A is 6 and B is 2. And since evaluation is from left to right, automatically this becomes true. So operation 1, which is P, that is true. Operation 2, which is Q, 9, C is 9, D is 15. Operation Q, C is less than D. This is also true. Now, if you write something like this in a Python file, operation 1 and operation 2, it evaluates to true because for AND it means both operations must be true. So I'll come and put some examples here. Just come and say operation 1, which is P. Yes, I'll just repeat what is here. Carry all this, Control C and paste it here. Second operation, operation 2, which is Q. Also for this, I'll just carry these values and paste them here. That is my second operation. Now, I want to test this against AND operator. So how do we go about it? We come and say print bracket P and Q. So when you run this file this way, writing in capital letters, okay, it is true because we know P, it is true, A is greater than B, and C, it is true for Q because C is less than D. So we have a truth table here. This is our truth table. So when you look at this truth table, whenever operation 1 is true and operation 2 is true, when you use AND between for comparison or evaluation, you'll find that when AND is involved, that becomes true. But in the circumstances where operation 1, which is P, is true, but operation 2, which is Q, is false, when you put AND, it becomes false because for AND it means both operations must be true. If either, so for this case, if the first operation is false, this becomes false. We can test this. Let's first of all test this line 35, true and false. We come to the second operation, say false, then the file becomes false when using AND in between. Now the 36 false and true. So let me put this as greater than and this as less than. So operation 1 is false, but operation 2 is true. So I'm simulating line 36 false and true. If I run this, save the file, Control S, run the file, get false. So that is actually that is there. False, false, it is false. So I can change this to false, save the file, Control S, run the files. Let me see, this is true, which should be false, and this is true, which should be false. Let me run the file this time, it gets you false. So that is all about AND operation. Now let me look at OR operation, or how to use the OR operator. So P or Q. For OR, I can come here and put some F string, some OR operator. Yeah, speech mark. So for this, for OR, if operation 1 is true and 2 is true, for OR that is true. So I'll come here and change this to true. Come here and change this to false. Save the file, Control S, run the file again, you get OR operator is true. Change 1 to this second one to false. Save the file, and the file OR operator is true. So for OR it means if 1 is false, the one that is true makes the entire operation true. Second circumstance, this is true. Let's say this is false and this is true. So if I run this file, I get true, because actually false true for all that is true. False false, all becomes false. Now we have the not operator. Have the not operator. Not operator reverses the evaluation. So for example here, when we are talking about AND, so for AND, let's say this is true for AND, and also this is true for AND, this is true for this, for the first one and the second one. Now for AND that should be true, but I can append not to surround this statements. So doing this will force this evaluation to be reversed, hence to become false. So if you want to reverse the operation, you use the not operator that is found inside the logical operators. That is truth table for logical operators. That is it. So that is all about the logical operators. So when you look at this truth table, if any of this operation, if P was true, becomes false. False becomes true. False becomes true. So it reverses the operation. Next in this category is bitwise membership and identity operator. So we'll look at these operators in our next tutorial. So you can stop there today. We will continue next time. Thank you for watching.